ever just start crying while you're brushing your teeth or get irritated because someone is talking too loud? Yeah, me too. Emotions have range, and sometimes they show up uninvited, unannounced, and completely uninterested in what you have planned for the day. Do you ever wonder why emotions can hit you just so hard? You're fine 1 second, and then 2 seconds later, you're spiraling out of control. You say to yourself, maybe I should just move to another country and start all over again. Well, today we're going deep into the emotions, the real ones, the ones we pretend not to feel. Let's talk about why we feel so much and how to stop feeling like your emotions are running the entire show. I'm Davina Dandridge, speaker, author of Brains Baubles, Do What Works for You, and an emotional empowerment coach. And this is Brains Baubles Live, where we elevate your emotional intelligence, not just to survive the world, but to transition into sophisticated empowerment. If you've ever felt like you were too much, too soft, too emotional, or too exhausted to try to hold it all together, then you're in the right place. Today is about reclaiming the wisdom of your emotions, not resenting your emotions. Let's get into it. First off, let's be clear. Feeling deeply does not make you dramatic. It makes you aware. Most of us were taught that emotional control equals strength, but all that really taught us was how to suppress and then how to explode in rotation. Emotional sophistication begins with awareness, not avoidance. It's not about journaling 24/7. It's about being able to say, oh, okay, I'm anxious right now, or something just triggered my inner fixer. What was that? Or I'm not mad, I'm actually scared right now. Naming that emotion is empowerment. Suppressing it is the shortcut to chaos. Proverbs 4:7 says, wisdom is the principal thing. Therefore, get wisdom. And with all thy getting, get understanding. Understanding your emotions isn't optional, it's divine wisdom in action. There is a difference between emotional triggers and emotional data. Let me give you an example. I used to get mad when people would cancel plans last minute. I mean, I was furious. Turns out it wasn't about the plans at all. It was about me feeling like I wasn't enough or I wasn't being prioritized. That's emotional data. That's not drama. Your emotions are just warnings. They're the feedback that you need to know how to adjust. They're trying to tell you something about what matters to you. And when you listen with clarity instead of shame, you get answers instead of overreacting. The next time you feel triggered, pause and ask yourself, what story am I telling myself about this moment? Write it down and then ask yourself, is this true? There's a loop that you're in when you get overwhelmed, and I'm going to show you how to break it. So, first of all, here's how we get stuck. We start our day reacting. Text, email, news, group chat. By 9 a.m., we're already emotionally hijacked. If you want peace, you have to pause. Let's try this type of reset. The first one is an emotional check in. Ask yourself, what do I feel right now before you even touch your phone? And then name three sensations that are taking place in your body. Is it tension in your shoulders? Is it a tight chest? And then finally, I want you to respond. Don't react. Become an emotional planner instead of a triggered responder. Pause before answering that passive aggressive email that you got. Just pause. Look, Set up a 2-minute timer for these check-ins. This is something that you can do when you're feeling a little bit overwhelmed in the course of the day. I actually have named this the self gut check. And in my book, I explain how you use the self gut check and how it can really benefit your emotional intelligence. But treat your emotional nervous system like a dashboard. You can't fix what you don't read. Burnout is real. Here's my story. I haven't really said this out loud, but I used to feel ashamed for needing help. Between caregiving, being a mom, building my business, and trying to look emotionally composed, it wore me out. I was exhausted. Then one day I realized I was managing my schedule better than I was taking care of my emotions. So I started waking up 30 minutes earlier every day, not to get ahead of my tasks that I had to do, but to sit with myself and with God, to feel what I was pretending not to feel. Here's what you could do. You could give yourself 30 quiet minutes a day where no one gets to need you. So whether that takes place in the morning, whether that takes place on your lunch break or in the evening, just make sure you get that time. Not with your phone, not paying attention to your calendar. You and just you getting emotional clarity. That 30 minutes saved my emotional life, and it will work for you too. There are 3 practical sophistication steps to help you put emotional intelligence in action. Here's how you become emotionally sophisticated, not just self aware, although self aware is important. The first one is create emotional boundaries. You don't need to absorb every mood in the room. That's not empathy, that's emotional codependency with better branding, if you will. But guard your emotions. Write down one sentence that defines what's not your responsibility emotionally. Put it where you can see it. Number 2, curate your emotional inputs. Who and what you listen to affects how you feel. If your feed is making you anxious, curate it like your peace depends on it, because it does. Do a 48-hour social media detox. And I've gone longer. I've gone years on this detox. And your emotions will thank you later. Normalize vulnerability and emotional strategy. Cry and cancel the meeting. Take a bubble bath and set a boundary. That's sophisticated empowerment. Philippians 4:5 says, "Let your moderation be known unto all men. The Lord is at hand." This verse reminds us that balance, emotional constraint, and softness are marks of faith. They're not marks of failure. So sophisticated. Let me ask you something. What would change in your life if you stopped apologizing for your emotions? What if you believed your feelings were functional, not flaws? Here's where you begin. Take my emotional sophistication map. It's a free assessment that shows you where you are right now in your journey toward emotional empowerment and where to start next. The link is in the description. And if you're ready to go deeper, grab my book, Brains Baubles, Do What Works For You, because emotions aren't the problem, they're the compass. Let's follow them back to joy, clarity, and yes, power. Stay empowered, sophisticated, and don't forget to like, comment, and share this with the woman who needs a moment to feel again. We're not silencing emotions here. We're translating them into strategy. See you next time.